Hi, welcome to Africa Talks Tech. This particular episode is for the festive tech calendar. Sam, what is the show going to be about today?
Well, as the name implies, it's going to be festive, it's going to be technical, it's going to be innovative, but more important, it's going to be about Africa or the African diaspora and how we round off this year. So, without much of ado, Kazeem, I guess we're ready to rock and roll or whatever you want to call it, right?
I'm ready to, Sam. Hi, my name is Kazeem Adegboyega. I'm a Microsoft Azure MVP, and I work as the Managing Director at the LASU CBT team here in Lagos, Nigeria. And we do IT training, CBT testing, and cloud-related services. I'm sure I'm not alone as always. I've got my very good friend and partner on the show with me, Sam Erskine. It's over to you now.
Hi, my name is Erskine. I am a head of customer experience. If you've watched the show before or the shows previously, I was head of cloud engagements. My current focus within my large organization is transforming our customer experience through digital experiences that turn what you do at home into what you do at work in terms of how you experience technology. Kazeem, enough about us. What are we going to do right now? How do you want to roll with this? Are we ready to be festive?
Of course, sure. So, let's start with Africa Talks Tech, right? So far, we've been able to record about 11 episodes in total, right? So let me ask you first, which of the particular episode of the Africa Talks Tech is your favorite, and what lesson did you learn from it?
Wow. 11 shows, that's like about a year. I'm not going to use favorites so I don't get in trouble, but there have been some amazing, you know what I'm saying? It's festive, we've got to give gifts, right? But there have been
Yeah.
some amazing sessions. But if I had to pick one that connected with me in terms of my own journey, in some aspects, I would say it's the conversation we had with Rukia that switched path from the legal domain into a full stack developer. So I guess you want to know why, right, Kazeem?
Yes, of course, sure.
Well, that show was particularly interesting because it was nothing like I expected. We were introduced to Rukia through another good friend of mine that's based out in Minnesota, Steve Buchanan. And he just said, you need to talk to her. So as we started to talk to her, I realized that Rukia in that episode, she journeyed from Minnesota to Kenya to try and connect with an NGO. But while she was there, she found out that, she had a taste for being a developer. And that was because she applied for an internship with the UN, I believe, and had to try and boot camp herself in technology in about 8 hours or something, which was ridiculous, right, Kazeem?
Yes, it really is.
But as we started to talk to her, I realized that it wasn't just 8 hours, it was 8 hours of productive time. So Rukia invested time in connecting with different people. So that's why I love the bits that she touches on about mentorship. She understood that she would need to invest time in connecting with people that have been in that domain that look like her, sound like her, and have similar experiences. So she particularly sought out, mentors that were closer to her and her experiences.
I think, for that one, I also have one that I like very much, one of the episodes. The one for me, the one that I'll pick out will be the one with Jyoti Tadese, right? That we titled that one Connecting to Africa with the Power of Books, right? Jyoti was part of those in charge of putting together this organization. I think the name is called Book for Africa,
It's Book
right?
for Africa.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, Books for Africa. And it's impressive that over the period of their existence, they've been able to ship over 15 million books all across Africa. So that's I find to be inspiring. So Africa, as we know it today, has a population of about 1.2 billion people. And statistics has also shown that we have about 300 million, who have crossed that school age gap, but only 30% of them have enrollment, in schools. So for an organization to come up with that idea, I think is really a very plausible one, trying to fill that void that we have here in Africa. And also on the same episode, Jote also mentioned something about diaspora care, which we also touch on just briefly on the show, right? So I really like the fact that Jote and his team were able to come up with this solution that allows diasporans now to cater for the health need of their family members back here in Africa. So that I like about that particular episode, sir.
Indeed, and Kazeem, if I can build on that and even connect the two episodes that we like, right? So, for starters, I really didn't know the full meaning of diaspora until I started talking to you on the show and others, right? So these are the global citizens of Africa, which you can think about is your heart's always in Africa, and where you live, maybe that's where your head's got to be because you got to obey those rules. So the diaspora care aspect of it really connected with me as well, because this is where Jote talked about the platform that allows you to direct where the funds should go when you send money home. Because if you've got somebody that is hungry but is ill, they may prioritize eating over getting well. So this is a really great platform where you can say, I, as somebody that's living somewhere that may be privileged with additional funds, I can actually connect with a pharmacy, tell them that leave antibiotics for my elderly relative. They will simply pick it up. And then you know that your funds are going where it needs to be because, Africa is fantastic, but with every continent, it has its challenges, right? I think, criminals and bad people, they're everywhere in the world, right? So this was a great platform to level that. The second part of it, as I said, in terms of the connection, Jote was really invested in how we learn, and through the books, digital platforms, etc. That was really changing, making education accessible to everybody to overcome certain challenges that were more local to Africa, and I guess even local to other parts of the world. So I see it as something that scales everywhere.
And I guess the other part of it that we also plan to record for the festive tech calendar, we thought it would be nice, right, to showcase some of the tech hubs here in Africa that are doing fantastically well, contributing to the tech space that people might not know about. So we decided to title that one, Did You Know, right? So Sam, the adoption of tech in Africa continues to be on the rise, right? There are a number of African startups that are doing fantastically well, rolling out products. So I have my list, and I know you have yours too as well, Sam. So I'm going to let you kick off on this one. Which would you pick as your number one?
Wow, I'm not gonna number them. I'm just gonna wow them. Right? So for starters, often when we get to know about things, we call it a startup. So to me, it's not really a startup, but it's I didn't know that. So I'm picking Ghana to begin with because that's where I was based and grew up. And Ghana has a car manufacturing company called Kantanka. They've been making robust cars. Some of them are really crazy, even one that looks like an aeroplane. And as recent as last year, they've actually announced that they're going to get into the electric car industry. And Kazeem, we can share some links after that. So that's what I'd like to start with. And I guess, I know you're probably going to go to Nigeria, right? So can you top that?
Of course, at the top of my list, I have one from Nigeria, right? And it's Main One. The reason I've chosen Main One is because of the connectivity problems that we have back here in Africa. Connectivity continue to be that challenge that a number of Africans face till date. It's not cheap, right, to get connected here in Africa. And so even when you get one, it's hard, for you to get the best. What do we call them now? We call them ISP, that particular provider. Yeah. So I like the fact that Main One is also coming into that space to fill that void. So Main One started in Nigeria back in 2010. Yes, year 2010. And their sole aim is to provide internet connectivity for the Nigerian market and across Africa as well. That's why I would choose Main One, at the top of the list. Wow. I know you have some other ones.
Of course I do, and at least we're not doing jollof wars, right? So this is much more fun. My next one, if I can call it, that's probably more about something that is connected to what you said, right? The internet connectivity is low, but Africa has been innovating in the fintech industry, and this is financial tech. And I was recently in Ghana, back in September this year. And it's mobile money, right? So if you need to exchange money with somebody here, you're typically looking for internet connectivity for internet banking authorization. But it's a democratic process there. If you have a mobile phone and you have a mobile number, you can easily pay for things. And I was surprised at how far it's got, that almost everything you could pay with mobile money, from a taxi ride that you are in to a small restaurant, and to your friend, saying that, lend me a few naira or cedis or whatever currency is in Africa at the time. You can easily swap that with integrity and not need to worry about the mobile connectivity. So I would say that's one of the fantastic things that goes on there that I still don't see as much in the Western world. But in Africa, I think we've been doing it for so long, and we keep on pushing that innovation.
Yes, that's very true. In fact, I'll have to go with you on that one. There is this product from Swahili, from the Swahili people. I think it's from Kenya now. So they've named it M-Pesa, right? So I like the name and how the name was coined, right? So M-Pesa is from the Swahili language, stands for money, right? Pesa means money, and the M part of it means mobile. So mobile money, M-Pesa.
I didn't know that.
Yes, so M-Pesa, though not very popular here in Nigeria, but I see it's really big in places like Ghana, Kenya, and Mozambique. So they're trying to feel that we know, right, that the fintech is really big now, in Africa. So when you talk Nigeria, you talk Ghana, you talk Kenya, so they are all over the place doing fantastic work in the fintech space. So I don't know if you have anyone on the list, Sam.
Well, I actually have two. One is not necessarily technology, we call it innovation. So it's creative ways of coping. And we're doing this recording in December 2021, right? So we're still coming out and in and out of the pandemic, because every day there's something new. But I like one of the innovative, creative pieces that happened when I was in Ghana, and I started to research it. There's something called the Veronica Bucket. This is where we needed to make sure that you could wash your hands, all kinds of stuff. So there was a doctor whom will caption in this recording at some point that came up with the Veronica Bucket, which is, the plastic containers. They have creative versions of it. So you could be mobile with it. You can drive it with your foot. You can use a little piece, but it's meant that Africa has been coping extremely well with the aspects of COVID prevention measures like washing your hands, but without having to go into a high-tech piece. Because living abroad, everything is electronic, you've got sensors and stuff like that. So it's the creativity and innovative mindset of making sure that we are not only economically friendly, but we are creative in trying to address the poor. So that's one of them for me. And I guess I can cheat a little bit and test you, right? So the other one that I wanted to touch on is why we began the show in the first place, right? Because people think about Africa in the past. So I looked at Rwanda, and whenever I ask people, what do you remember about Rwanda? They remember the really bad days, the terrible days, what was on the news. So I said, actually, if you look at Rwanda now, it's meant to be the Singapore of Africa. And to call out a big piece, right? It's got a smartphone industry. They've got a particular brand called Mara, right? So Kazeem, have you heard about Rwanda and their smartphone industry?
I haven't learned so much about the phone industry in Rwanda, but I know, yes, there's a particular phone brand from Rwanda gaining a lot of popularity now. But I don't know so much about it, so maybe you want to educate me some more about this phone from Rwanda.
I think we would save that one for another show, right? But the brand is called Mara, and there's Mara X. It's fantastic, and even talking about phones, right? When I was in Ghana, they've got these very little robust phones for really a low price. It had 2 SIM cards. He had a mobile phone, a radio built into it. And the battery lasts forever. I don't know if you have them in Nigeria. I think I have a box somewhere, but I'll share it. But you could pick it up there for as little as the equivalent of maybe £50. But these things were fantastic, and that's what everybody was using, right? They had their smartphone for connecting with, the alleged smarter world, but they were smarter because their batteries lasted longer and it didn't make your pocket feel heavy. So I think I want to leave you with the final word in here as to, is there anything that I didn't know, Kazeem? Because this is the part that I love, learning something new.
Yes, I think one other one for me will be these guys from South Africa. So there's this popular brand in South Africa. They've called the brand Aerobotics. The name sounds really nice, right? So Aerobotics was founded in South Africa in 2014. And what I like about them is they're in the agri space, right? The agriculture space. And they're using artificial intelligence to provide solutions for agriculture in Nigeria. So I see them using drones. They fly drones in the farm to monitor things like pests and diseases on farm. And Sam, as well as I do that, the soil on the African continent is really very fertile, right? So just about anything will grow on the African continent. So I like the fact that they're taking the bull by the horn. Yes, we're big when it comes to agriculture in Africa, but I see we need to make it a little bit more modern. And it's nice to see that Aerobotics is also doing something in that space. So I like Aerobotics. So that would be my final pick.
Indeed, Kazeem, and it's a great place to end up, right? Because typically, most people have known that Africa produces a lot of raw materials, but the innovation is in the refinement. So be it diamond, farming, or whatever you want to get out of Africa, because, attach on mobile phones, but the minerals and the materials that you need to actually make batteries, they source from Africa, right? and they have done that for a long time. So I guess that would end our section of Did You Know? And we have so much we could have talked about. But Kazeem, what are the trends that are showing in Africa as we look towards 2022?
There are quite a number of them, Sam. For me, I think one that is beginning to gain a lot of popularity now in Africa would be blockchain, right? So you know that the African continent in recent time is catching up, technological wise now. But blockchain seems to be one other technology that is gaining a lot of momentum right now on the African continent. Myself, I'm not very big when it comes to the blockchain technology, but I've just heard many experts, right? And I've spoken to a few guys in the blockchain space. They continue to reiterate the fact that, oh, blockchain is one technology that can really make Africa great, that will improve Africa economy. And, so when I was looking up blockchain, perhaps what we've been able to do within the blockchain space, I figured, I found out that Sierra Leone, that's the Sierra Leone election in 2018, was blockchain powered. Sam, did you know that?
Wow.
And it went well.
Wow, I didn't know that because I started, I started looking into blockchain properly when you invited me to speak at your Tech Saturday events to the Lagos State University students. And I believe, and if I get it wrong, please make sure you correct it in the video at some point. But I believe
Yes.
the lady explained it really well and said blockchain is a bit like the internet, right? And people,
Yes.
because people think Bitcoin is blockchain, but it's not. Blockchain is the technology powering cryptocurrency. So, and it's used in so many ways, right? So hearing that it's got its practical use, that it's actually been applied in Africa, definitely, I can see that trend driving forward. And I've also, through my research, found that its influence in climate change sectors. So I'm excited about it. So definitely, it's an area to watch in terms of practicality, rather than people just thinking about it as cryptocurrency.
Certainly. I'm also really very excited about some of the many opportunities that blockchain, as they say, right, has to offer. And I honestly think that we're in exciting times, when it comes to there's so many pros that blockchain has got to offer. But what are the other trends that you've noticed? I've seen user groups, so maybe you want to touch on that a little bit, user groups.
Indeed. And I would say that we got together because of community, right? So when we talk about user groups, the technology industry has been really good at networking through this notion of user groups. But previously, those user groups were in the areas where the technology hubs were, like, Silicon Valley, that sort of stuff. And then you started having local ones. But I've seen an explosion of that in Africa. And I believe it's the creative side that has driven how we survive in these new times.
Yes.
If I can unpack that, Kazeem, right? So previously, I used to travel maybe about 5-6 times a year to go to a conference. I was well known because I've been lucky enough to be accepted to a session. But last year and this year, because everybody is at home, Africa is now being brought to the table, right? So I call it the democracy of user groups, conferences, and driving global inclusion. I see that trend continuing because now events are hybrid, just like the user groups are hybrid. So you can host your user group in Nigeria, but you can bring Sierra Leone in, you can bring the US in, you can bring England in without increasing our carbon footprints. And let's face it, a lot of the times you would have loved to attend a conference, Kazeem, but you've got to look at how much it's going to cost, how much time you need to take, right? But now, I think when you talk about user groups, people are getting onto your show. You're the primary user group, right?
Yes, it's giving a lot of us in Africa, that platform to be able to connect with people across the world. So when you have events happening anywhere in the world now, most of the events are virtual, right? Even right now, we have this West Africa boot camp, MCT boot camp going on. And you need to see the parade of speakers. They have about 54 speakers,
Wow.
speaking at this event, and they are from all over the world. So that I see as some of the pros now of COVID. COVID has its own bad side, but I also see that there are some positives, some takeaways that post COVID has also left us with. Sam, I'm looking at the time now, so I'm thinking we should wrap up, given our ambition, right? Or do you want, so our ambition for next year. So maybe you want to go first. So what would you say are your ambitions for next year?
Indeed, and I guess we better explain why we called it ambition. So every year, people make a New Year's resolution, and it felt like, you're trying to promise to do something you should have done anyway. So we said, oh, we'll talk about ambition. So I'll say my ambition for next year, and it's going to be a little bit abstract, is to start a new venture in Africa that is going to allow me to build a path to giving back to the continent, because what I want to do is get better at learning in order to be better. So that's my first ambition. So what about you, Kasim? What's your ambition for next year?
One of my ambition, I'll tie it to where I work currently, right? Presently, I work at the LASU CBT. And at the LASU CBT, so I've seen now that we have on the average 70 young kids, coming to the center. So that's the LASU CBT on a daily basis. That's Monday. We don't work weekends, but from Monday through to Friday, we have 70 young kids coming to enroll for some services that we offer at the CBT. So I've taken it upon myself that next year, how about I come up with empowering these young kids? So if I can try to redefine perhaps IT training, I have a little background in IT training now. So I can give them that platform of delivering quality, impactful IT training, top-notch training to these young boys and girls at affordable rates. So I'm hopeful and I wish, that this time next year, so you can come back on the show and tell Sam that, oh, LASU CBT is been able to get about 500 young boys and girls, make them job ready. So that's one of my ambition for next year, Sam.
Well, that's fabulous. And, in the interest of giving gifts virtually, I would say I'll be willing to support you, not necessarily commercially, but I'm also very, very much invested in the next generation, because let's face it, when we get older, somebody else will have to drive what we started. So if we can give them a little something, like you said, to make it affordable, but then it will tie into what I want to do about giving back as well. So yeah, definitely watch this space, Kazeem.
Okay. I have another one, by the way. My show, for instance, the Tech Talk that I run, the weekly show, is giving me that opportunity as well to meet with many awesome people. I mean, like yourself, I reconnected with you on the show, so, and I've also been privileged to host many great minds, like Stephen Rose, Simon Layo, Isadora, Oli, and the rest of them. So next year I plan to reach out to some more awesome people around the world. So that's another thing I will do more next year.
Well, then I'll have to send my last one as well, right? So my wish and my call to action to those watching the show is, like you said, you've been bringing people onto your show. I want to see you appear on other people's shows that they know the power of Kazeem can teach, right? And in terms of sharing. And I'm blessed and privileged to have connected with you. The last time we saw each other was at the African Trainers Summit, right?
Yeah, that was 2016. Yes.
Yeah. So that was quite a while ago. So I'm hoping that if things work out, maybe we can meet together as avatars and look almost life size. but what be better is maybe even meeting in person. So let's go with the flow. Like we said, this show was about innovation, technology, giving back, and I've enjoyed the Did You Know section the most about it. So, Kazeem, in true style, would you take us out? I love the hat, by the way. Awesome. Fabulous.
That's the Nigerian art, so.
Well, I should have got the memo. Next time I'll bring mine as well. I have a few sort of like, trinkets and stuff like that, but I didn't do the hat. And I guess I've got to say that even with this top that I'm wearing, this was designed by a fabulous designer called Chocolate in Ghana. He made this in about 1 week. It was for a sad occasion, but then it was multi-purpose as well. So we'll put some links in there. It's just let you know there's so much going on in Africa. It's ridiculous. So on that note, Kazeem, I'll let you.
Yes, I think, yes, thank you very much, Sam. So I think I would end with saying a very big thank you to you, Sam, for the support that you've given me personally so far. And I would like to also reach out to the other great people as well, like Ollie, like Adnan, Steve, Isidora, and also the guys making this happen again this year. That's Gregory and to Richard as well. So a very big thank you to them. So this is how much we've got time for on today's episode of Africa Talks Tech for the Festive Tech Calendar 2021. So please do subscribe to our channel. It's Africa Talks Tech on YouTube. So you can have a rewatch of the previous episodes that we have up there. So very big thank you to Gregor and Richard once again for letting us be a part of this event this year. So on that note, it's bye-bye from myself and Sam.
Thank you very much and have a very great festive vacation if you are having one. If not, we'll catch you on the other side of 2022.
Bye-bye.